Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story, and today we're out in Arizona, and I want to mention this. Usually I say it at the end. I'm going to say it at the front. If you like this car and you're a viewer, subscribe to the channel, because this is the kind of stuff you just don't see. This is an amazing car. And with that being said, I'm with no stranger to the channel, Chuck Maranto, who I want to personally thank for continuing to buy cars so we get the chance to come out here.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming back to Cave Creek, where you come for a day and stay for a lifetime.
There's how it works. And with that being said, I'm going to get out of the way. Also, check out the Patreon at the bottom of the description. And Chuck, let's start off. What year, make, and model do we have here today?
Okay, what we're showing you today is a 1962 Fiat Abarth 2300 S Corsa.
How many of these are there in the world?
Well, they made a total over 8 years of 2,000, but there were two different models, and I'll explain that when we go to the car.
Let's go to the car. So here we have this, and this is a big Fiat.
This is the last of the big Fiats, and people generally...
Will you stand right next to it, because I want to show people. I've had you stand next to the other cars, and you dwarf them, but this is an actual full-size ride.
Right. It's most people don't realize that Fiat actually built large cars, and up through 1968 they did. Most people are familiar with the 124, Spider, and that's about it. But there's a lot of cars they made in between. So
now explain the Abarth part of this.
Okay, the Abarth part is
Abarth. Thank you.
The Ghia, in which you can see the little crescent on the side, came up with a design for Fiat, and Fiat ordered 2,000 units from Ghia. So Ghia started building them, and then midway through the first couple of weeks, they figured out there was no way they were ever going to build 2,000 of these things. So they built a total of 50. And the original 50 have a different kind of insignia than all the other ones that Ghia put on. Those are only on the original 50 cars. Wow. Ghia built the bodies and then sent the body over to Abarth. Sent the body over to Abarth, and Abarth installed all the mechanicals.
And the Abarth is the race version. The Abarth is
Abarth is a company. He's a guy.
Yeah.
Like Porsche was a guy.
Yeah.
And he had a manufacturing facility. He used a lot of Fiat parts to build little Fiat race cars and whatnot. So he took on this program, and it's was a little bit different for him because it's a road car, not a race car, and it's got a 6-cylinder engine, which is something that they've never really messed with. He built 50 of them and did some special tweaking of the engine on those 50. The other 1,950 were built by a coach builder, OSI, which was kind of an arm of Ghia at the time. But Ghia said they couldn't produce them, so they just passed it along to them. The 50 cars are really unique, a little different than all the rest, and we know of a total of 11 left in the world. 11 left. What I know is about 7 of them are not running.
Okay.
There's a couple of them running, and I think this one is probably the best one around.
Probably the best one around. Now, I'm seeing yellow headlights when I'm
All right, so the yellow headlights are basically a French law. And
can we turn those on, too?
I think that, because this car spent its whole life in Rome, I think the guy who owned this probably took some trips to France, and he ordered the headlights being the French spec headlights.
Okay.
And they show yellow when they're lit.
They show yellow. Maybe we can light those. Can we turn those on real quick? I don't know if they'll show in the daytime, because we do have sun pretty much hitting them.
Pretty bright. Did they go on?
They did. They may have, but it's too hard to see. Yeah, we'll shut them down. Okay, because we have so much bright light.
Try now. Try now.
Oh yeah, there they are. There we have a straight-on shot of the yellow.
Right.
Let me just show that right there. Okay. Okay, we'll shut that off. Even the work in the headlight. Look at the back window.
The car was designed with wings in front and both front and rear wings. The rear wing is controlled with a little handle here, and the front wing has a mechanism that cranks it out.
That is really...
And it really, you know, if any of you are old enough to remember them in the American cars, they really did ventilate the cars extremely well at speed.
Keep that door open while we're there. I will obviously show the back of the car, but look at the mechanism. The light here, that mechanism. Look at the back window. Talk about some viewing capabilities. And the seats
Or mohair.
mohair. Now, the last time you've seen mohair inside a car is like a 1940 Cadillac.
Mohair is extremely comfortable in the heat. It wicks away any.
Look at this.
It wicks away any of the moisture and whatnot, as opposed to leather, which you tend to stick to. You know.
Look at that.
An original Momo wheel. All the cars had Momo wheels, steering wheels, full instrumentation.
Let me take my time on that. Look at those. And turn signal indicators.
I mean, they made this car with all the bells and whistles they had available to them at the time. It's an extremely deluxe version, and very comfortable car. Could cruise all day long at 90 miles an hour. It's just great.
Tell me about this on this side. What's that foot bar for?
Okay, so in 1962 there were no belts. So that was a gadget that your passenger could put their feet on and brace themselves in the event that they needed to be held. The driver, of course, was holding onto the wheel, and they didn't need that. But the passenger had nothing to hold on to, so that's a brace, basically.
We got a kind of period correct aftermarket phone.
Right.
Cool. And then this centerpiece, I'm assuming, just pops down.
That's
if
correct.
needed
It's an
be.
armrest.
Tell me what we have back here.
What
this,
we have back here.
This is 1962.
Right. We have a defroster on the rear window.
What?
And the unit is located in the trunk.
Really?
And it's fed by hot water from the engine.
Let me show the back of it for just a second. Let me get down low enough. I'm trying to cover a little of that sun. Tell me, let's take a look at the rear defrogger, but we've got Corsa. Now, what is Corsa?
Corsa is a specific model. My understanding is they built 6 or maybe 7 of them total out of the 2000, and this is one of those.
Wow.
The engine is kicked up a little bit in horsepower and whatnot.
Can we open that?
Yeah, there's kind of a surprise in here.
I love surprises. The trick or trunk does not disappoint. The trunk treats, as I like to call them. Don't tell me this is original luggage.
You know, we're not sure. Luggage was available. It was not. Ferrari fitted luggage in leather and it fit perfectly in the back.
Yeah.
Fiat, of course, didn't do that, but my understanding is that this luggage came with the car.
Wow.
But it's not fit, but it's a,
Yeah.
you know.
It actually looks perfect.
Yeah.
And now am I seeing this right?
Yes. It's an electric radio antenna.
Correct time period?
Yes. It's something else that they had available to them.
In 62 on a
Yes.
Fiat. Wow. And I was noticing the reverse light in the bumper.
Right. The reverse the reverse backup lights are in the bumper.
Unbelievable. All right, let's yeah.
Again, so you get a better shot of that of the footrest here.
Yeah.
It actually flips up and locks
Okay.
like that. And you can really stretch out and brace yourself against it. Or you can fold it away, either way.
all of this the pieces here with the twisting window to open that like so. Spectacular. What? That's better than some of the other ones, right?
Yeah, most of the Fiat ones are tacky little gadgets that are glued onto the glass that eventually break.
What's this under here that's got some numbers on it, Dave? It looks like it has a
That's the heater.
heater.
Yeah. It's got a thermostat on it, and you can open the vents whatever way you want.
There's a button on your parking brake. Is that to release it?
That button on the parking brake turns a light on and off on the dashboard, reminding you that your parking brake.
Got it. Got it.
I'll show you something really interesting.
I'll show you something interesting. Okay.
So
I think we're already there.
So this is the standard light, the standard horn.
Yeah.
For on the highway.
Yeah.
There's a switch down here.
Okay.
And when you throw it, that's the urban horn, and that's the horn for the for open road.
The highway.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What an advancement. Is a Fiat like no Fiat I've ever seen before.
Correct.
Let's shut the trunk. These are spring loaded, by the way. As you can see, it's like a switchblade.
I want to show you something here.
Show me anything you want on this one. Look at the sills, the wonderful entry into the car.
I'll turn the ignition on.
Okay.
This one works. Okay, see, there's a switch down here. That when there's lights built into the corners back here, so when it lights if you have to take the spare tire that's down underneath there.
Let me let this calibrate for a second. Let me do this. Okay.
And I actually have taken the liberty of putting LEDs in there because they don't burn any current to speak of.
Yeah, right. So that was the way it actually came.
Yes.
I'll let that calibrate, and then that's just gonna be how it's gonna be shown. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, we got the tail lights on or something. We can shut that off. All right, I'm gonna shut this. Is that all right?
Yes.
Let's take a look under the hood, shall we?
Absolutely.
Is there a ID badge or a fender tag or something?
It's over there. It's
on
over
that
there.
side. Well, let me stay on this side for a moment. So here's our 2300.
Six-cylinder, straight
Six-cylinder.
six. Big Weber carbs, dual carbs. A lot of area in here actually, so it's easy to work on. I have taken the liberty of converting the generator into an alternator, so it has an alternator because the generators were kind of pitiful.
Let me take a look on this side.
Four-wheel disc brakes, vacuum control. There's the vacuum pot over there. Let me show you something else.
Yeah, show me. Here's our carburetors. Here. Here's that tag I was looking for. I'm seeing already you have a light for the interior for the engine.
Right, there's one there, and there's one right back down in
yeah,
here.
I see it.
And it's just in the event you have to work on them, and it's controlled by a little switch right here.
Wow. They thought of everything on
Yep.
this one.
It's one of the first European cars that uses a fan clutch, which is common these days, but it was one of the first back in the day.
You are right. There is tons of room on this side.
Right.
Very easy to operate. Boy, I'm surprised they didn't sell a bunch more of these cars because it has looks and everything else.
Well, you know, there was one for sale on Bring a Trailer about 2 months ago, and it was a guy in Torino was selling it.
Yeah.
And, you know, Bring a Trailer is great because everybody posts a comment.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks they're geniuses, except nobody knew what the thing was, you know. So one guy was saying, oh yeah, they were available in the States, they couldn't sell them. Well, they were never available in the States. My friend was a Fiat dealer, and he's like, did we miss that?
Yeah.
No, but they did sell a few in Canada, but the majority of them were sold in the homeland, in Italy, you know.
And where did you get this one from?
Well, I was over in Torino, and I was purchasing another Abarth, and I went into his warehouse, and it was parked there, and we were looking at that car, and this car was kind of over in the corner, and I'm going like, well, what's that thing? And he said, oh, that's a big Fiat. This was like 15 years ago. Nobody likes them, you know. Nobody cares for them. Blah blah blah. And so we were negotiating on the other car, and he was a little high on it, you know. So I says, you know what? I'll pay your price, but I want that car. Throw that car in. He says, you got it. So
wow.
I didn't pay much for it, and
it's worked out well.
Yeah, one was sold at RM 2 Scottsdales ago, and they got 74 grand all in.
Wow.
And the guy drove home, and he needed a complete engine restoration, so it was not a good deal. But this car is great.
Let's start it up, shall we?
Sure.
I'm almost curious, which side should I be on? I guess I should be on this side.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Listen. Very free revving engine.
That is a great sound. One more time, Chuck. Give me one rev from back here, please. That's fun.
So the reason why
Let's sit it down so I can hear you.
that's the regular idle there.
This is the idle. All right, wait. Let me hear it idle. Now I got to hear it idle. So you just changed the game for me. That's smooth. Let me hear it at exhaust. Oh, very smooth.
Yeah, it's like a watch.
And there's that free spinning fan. Chuck, is there anything else to tell me about this?
Well, the reason why Fiat actually produced this car was because in 1962, Maserati was producing the 3500S, basically the same body style exactly.
Okay.
Lancia was producing the Flaminia coupe, looked just like it, and Ferrari was producing the 250 GT. Okay, so there were three other cars. This car was half the price of those other cars, and from a build quality standpoint, they were better than all three of them put together.
Is that right?
I mean, here was an engine that did not require any very much maintenance. The Maserati, not too bad. The Lancia and the Ferrari, of course. And the Ferrari, of course, required a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
And that's why they came out with it. So it was basically a poor man's Ferrari, or, Lancia, whatever. And they held them to very high esteem. They got a lot of money for them.
Yeah, step back.
And so that's the reason why they didn't build all that many of them. They wanted to keep it fairly restricted. And it's a wonderful car. I mean, it's such a great car to drive.
It's got everything.
And no one's ever seen them.
No.
No one knows what they are. We were a couple of years ago. We took it to Ocean Avenue, Carmel, the Ocean Avenue car show.
Mm-hmm.
And they stuck me next to an F40 and a 348. And guys were sitting on the F40 trying to take pictures of this car. And the guy comes over, he goes, "What the heck are you trying to do over here?" He says, "No, I got an F40 and nobody's looking at it because you got this car." I says, "Sorry, man, it's just..."
I didn't do it on purpose.
I didn't do it on purpose, but there's a lot of F40s around,
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
So it was a lot of fun. I got
car.
the People's Choice Award at the Concorso Italiano that year.
I love this car. I fell all over myself when I saw this one.
Right.
I went, "What is this?"
Yeah.
All right, let's shut the hood.
Well, two things here.
Yeah, tell me.
Two things. Number one, nobody has any idea that Fiat made a car this large.
No.
Nobody has any idea.
No, I've never seen one this
And
big.
secondly, because it was not available and basically not available in North America, no one's ever seen them. They create a lot of interest. It creates a lot of interest at Cars and Coffee, and for people that did come to look at the 75 Lamborghinis that are sitting in the parking lot.
Yeah, it gives them something. Well,
Right.
this is the kind of thing that I come running over to you. And Chuck, it's always a pleasure to come and see you, first of all, and such a treat to hang out at your place and see your amazing cars. And I just want to say thank you, first of all, for my car story, and thanks for letting me come on out today.
Absolutely. We'll surprise everybody in the next one.
Thanks.
Very good. Thanks so much.